Assalamu alaikum, everyone. There we go. All right, assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's I, Arif Khan, once again here with the Islam podcast for week review of week 6, right? We're 6 weeks in. So today it's just going to be myself and my good friend here, Mr. Maju. Assalamu alaikum, Zaid.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Walaikum salam.
Just joking around earlier on that nobody knows you as Zaid. Everybody just knows you as Maju. It's like people don't even know you have a first name.
It's Maju. Let's go with that.
Exactly. So, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Excited for the recap. I think some of the guys in the chat are too. Of course, we have Ahmed Ibrahim. We have Rexdale Royalty. So
Rexdale Royalty, always the first one. What's up, brother? We got people slowly joining. Yeah, I think we were supposed to have a couple more people, but timing just didn't work out. But anyways, we'll try to make the most of it. Let's see what we got here for today. Do we have a schedule today or sort of an agenda? I think we're just going to review the games, right?
Yeah, we're going to go through the games and maybe throw up some rumors and get a few things moving around. Let's see what we can do.
All right. Let's see.
Abdullah wants on next week's podcast.
Put me on next week. Well, you know what, Abdullah? I'll do one better. If you want, I'll put you on right now. How about that? Do you want to join? Send me a message. WhatsApp me. Okay, I'll send you a link. You can join right now. It's your time for fame and glory, above and beyond your wedding crashing game. We'll give it a minute because there's a couple of seconds delay here. But while he's doing that, Zed, let's get started with what happened there. I have the scoreboard here on the side. Can't recall if that was the sequence last week. It didn't say here. We can also refer to this.
Abdullah, listen, bro. I know you're grocery shopping, but you left your wedding to come be playing hockey. So what's a podcast? Just get to your car. Come on.
I'm grocery shopping with my wife. Oh, yeah, it's a good point, right? She's going to kill you for leaving grocery shopping, but not your own wedding. What's Kazi saying here? Kazi is saying, Badger wants to be part. See, my man Badger, I would love to have him on. He's one of the funniest dudes you'll meet. He's hilarious.
No doubt.
But all you're going to hear through the whole podcast is probably bleeped out noises. Badger, if you can promise to behave, I'll have you on. How about that? All right. Meantime, let's look at the games here. I assume these were in order. I can't quite remember, so forgive us if it's not. So first game was Taqwa versus Sabr, and this ended in a 3-2 game for Taqwa.
So
were you on this one?
Yeah.
I forget. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, of course. I've been Sabr since the lockdown, right? So every year I get on Sabr one way or another. It was a slow start for us. We were still missing Yusuf, who wasn't feeling well. We were missing some of our D-men who weren't feeling so well either. So it was a challenge, but it did really test our resiliency. And of course, the grumpy old man, the instigator himself, Mr. Academy Award winner Zuhair Fancy, did his work to really get into the head of our players and just showed his experience and tipped in a beautiful goal, I must add. Don't want to give him the props, but I have to.
Didn't he get like three assists or something crazy?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna check that out. I don't want to give him that much props.
Week,
That might have been last week. Yeah, he just scored one goal.
Zuhair has a great ability to draw penalties. As much as people are always ragging him for questionable plays, but dude, on your team, he's going to draw a ton of penalties.
And he did just that. He baited one of our players into a couple of silly penalties and far from the net, right? It's his leadership. It's his ruggedness, I guess you could call it, or experience on the court that it did it. But you know what? Taqwa came out really strong. They showed their speed as well. We showed resiliency to get back into it, and it just happened to be a last second like throw it out in front and got a quick. I think it was one of their players just got a quick stick on it and changed the
Yeah.
tide in the last minute, right? So both teams played really well. I think we showed resiliency of just coming back and really fighting for our win and fighting for the game and fighting to stay alive.
Yeah.
But again, it's just one of those really tough draws, and it
Yeah,
just
I
went
think
their way.
so. What at the end it was almost, was it this game where it went off the foot or leg or knee or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching and with 48 seconds, a close game like that was a sucky way to get it. But hey, man, they all count.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, right? Like I got frustrated, our team got frustrated. We all just let our emotions get the best of us at times, and it's hard to lose in the last minute. 9 out of 10 times, no ref is ever going to call a kick goal unless there's video review and blah blah blah. So it is what it is. Bounces go one way or another, and they just got the W with a great bounce for them. So can't hate on that.
For sure. Yep. All right. So the second game of the night was, if I remember,
You played on that.
I did. So this was blue versus red. So the colors that we're rocking today. We're kind of opposites, right? So this game was ended up in a 4-4 tie, but obviously I played in it. And Isan Red, we came out really strong, got 2 quick goals, got a 2-0 lead. We did exactly what we wanted to do, right? Just come out hard and get the lead. But Rida, being the team that they are, they clawed their way back. And by the end of the first period, it was 2-2. Then the second period starts. Again, we get a couple of quick goals, and it's 4-2. Again, we feel good about ourselves, but we let it slip, / them playing well, and they tied it again. So this was a game that we really needed to win because we're chasing Takwa, who, like we said, they just won, and we also came close to winning. We got 1 point, but overall we fell back by 1 point.
Mm-hmm. And the gap widens. It's tough. You guys, I think both teams played really well. We saw the resilience of Rida and the fact that Asad Bika just doesn't want to be denied. He put up 2 points, and his teammates kind of fed off of that. Now let me pose something to you. Kind of going back on what Omar was saying. Last week, you guys did win, and you guys had moved up Hamza Shakil a little bit more and kind of got him to play a little bit more forward. And this week, he went back. So are there any changes? Like, what was the mindset? Was there anything?
Hamza has always put, like, this whole season, he's played on the defensive core, right? He played D this whole season. Some games when we need a goal, we're really pressing hard, we'll put him up to the front. But he's played D, and he's played through some injuries, and all things considered, he's played, mashallah, really, really well. So ideally, we would want to have him play center or wing, which is his, I guess, natural position, if you will. But man, the guy's really versatile. So when we need him on defense, that's where he is.
Fair enough. Any changes you guys think you need to make, or any additions? Well, let's not call out anybody.
Let's get to that. Hold that thought, because we'll talk about some A trade that happened, which actually might answer your question a bit more closely as well.
Ooh.
So that was that one. And then the next game looks like it was Iman versus Ikhlas. And this is, again, Ikhlas just rolling through 3-1 with Mohib Shah taking the lead once again.
Okay, I got to say this. Mohib Shah, on the score sheet, he didn't get a hat trick. He scored 2 goals. Yeah. But in the game, he tipped one in on his own net. So when Mohib, you got a hat trick in my opinion, buddy.
That doesn't count.
I know. Badger wanted that back, and Mohib, there's your hattie, buddy. Like, there you go. So maybe he's going to be traded, but I know a few other guys weren't really looking. They were frustrated at themselves after the game. Just they didn't play like they should have. Iman did a really good job at trying to come back in the second. Unfortunately, they didn't make a lot of ground up, but they really developed and they really got better as the game progressed and took control of the second half. again, the score is not reflective of it because Badger has been playing really well for the team, and he's finally found his groove after winning Salon Cup and the Montreal Championship as well. So he's in true form. So to get something past him is going to be a lot of hard work. But Iman really showed their depth and their work ethic.
Well, it almost sounds like these two teams, they're going in opposite direction. Iman is kind of struggling a little bit, at least when we look at how they're playing. Here, let me put up the standings here on the side. And meanwhile, Ikhlas on the other side, they're just flying right through. So Iman, as you can see, they're at the bottom of this division. Very similar to Ihsan in terms of the record and points. And Ikhlas is way up there. So let me ask you first, what's making Ikhlas play so well? I mean, they're undefeated. They're the only team that's undefeated.
Undefeated in regulation. Well, yeah. They're playing with their friends. They're playing with that brotherhood concept. They know where to be. They know where their partner is going to be. So they have that. They basically have the tide rolling for them. And it's hard to stop. It's really, and I think the Yakin has a similar concept going because they've been playing with their friends and all the Greenbird or whatever guys that that everyone wants to call them, but they're playing with the guys they know that they have chemistry with, and it's hard to knock that. It's hard to really disrupt that. So I think both of those teams also have fantastic goaltending. So if one doesn't work, the other usually does come out to save you.
Well, when we look at Ikhlas right there. Going to take a second here. Like just looking at the points, look at the scoring. Pretty much, I don't know if you guys can see on your screen here, but with 13. But then they're scoring from everywhere. I mean, even Faisal is the third highest scorer on that team, which I'm not surprised with because you and I both played with him exactly a year ago, and he did the same thing. Just really good contributor. Whereas if I jump to here. You comment that, pull up the other.
Now, talking about these teams, talking about all these developments and this, I think it's really important to note as well that Medina division has really had a stranglehold in this divisional matchup. We played the cross division this entire week. For the last few weeks, and you can look at the scoreboard, and the scoreboard doesn't lie that each Mecca team is winless or has lost games. So no Mecca team has won a game in their last 3 or 4. Whereas Medina, every single one of their teams is unbeaten or they have won. So that is a true barometer. I think right now, as it stands, Medina does have the stronger division and probably will prevail in the end. But not to count anyone out because teams are still gelling. They're still finding their right path. And we do have the trade deadline coming up. So there's still additions, subtractions, and changes that can be made, or just people find their groove. And we saw that with Ikhlas, with Ihsan a couple of seasons ago, where they were just grinding out ties, but then past the halfway mark, they started finding their groove and started banging out the W's.
Yeah. So speaking of winning teams here, the third game, which had Yakin versus Haya, Yakin did a great job here. They've put together very quietly a very, very good season. I don't think most people were expecting, I guess, the kids to do this well, but it looks like RC has matured beyond his years and really started mentoring this group of young brothers.
The kids are all right. It's a corny reference, but that's perfectly all right by me. RC, I thought he would have a breakout season, but unfortunately, he's still dealing with an injury. So I wish him the speediest of recoveries, and hopefully he'll be back on the floor pretty soon, or at least for the playoffs. But Yakin is just a true hustle. Like they're the epitome of hustle. We talk about Haya hustle. We talk about the work ethic, but Yakin is up there. They do have a little bit of a fuse and a short temper at times, and I think we'll address that later on as well. But they're hard workers. These guys don't give up. And a true shout out goes to oh my God. And why am I not thinking? Ali Kawaja's son.
Hmm.
He hustles up, hustles back, has his head down. He's playing hard. He's never stops, and he's really really nice kid too. Really humble, but
Yeah.
just always out there, always wanting that goal, that second chance. And a lot of guys are they're he's young, but a lot of guys are feeding off this energy of this really that hard hustle, that work ethic, and yeah, and I think RC's done a great job, RC Ente, of drafting this
Hmm.
team and encouraging them to be the best that they can.
Yeah, yeah. Now, on the other side, Haya, who we've always said is a great team, any team that's led by Lukman is great. But I'm looking at their record here, right?
Yeah,
They they won the first two games of the season. Then week 3 they lost, week 4 a tie, week 5 a loss, and then week 6 another loss. So they are winless in one,
four.
two, three, four games out of 6. What's going
Yeah.
on here?
I don't know. They're also the lowest scoring team in the league. They only have
Yeah,
11 goals.
their
Every
their
other
highest
team, yeah,
yeah, their highest scorer here is Multani, and he has 4 points. And I think a couple of those came on the first game. Other than
yeah.
that, it's pretty dry.
And Bilal Sayed is their goal scorer. Sufyan Sufyan has 4 points, and he's trying to get back into the rhythm of getting them. But I've seen a lot of extra passes by the team. Right, they're in the slot. They have a great chance, and they're just not able to capitalize.
Hmm.
Um, I think again, their defensive core, they've always been great. They always find a way to really collapse in on their goalie, help the goalie out. I think I would like really it's just kind of that team effort that always
Yeah.
helps me play better too. And goalies love that. But they need to find that transition game and to be
Hmm.
able to get those extra shots on net, because you're not going to shoot if you don't score. Oh wow, way off. You're not going to score if you don't shoot. Uh,
Yet, despite
and
all that, they are second in their division. So
yeah, yeah.
that goes to your point that the Mecca division compared to the Medina seems weaker.
I'm waiting for someone to prove me wrong, but definitely I think well, Zain Mukaddam saying there's no higher hustle. I beg to differ. I think the hustle is there. It's
Yeah.
just they've also been missing, and they will be missing um, Mr. Bijabai. He came
Hmm.
back from a vacation, and apparently he's going back on another vacation. So he's just making up for, I guess, what he said was COVID time. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
another person who's really hustles hard and gets those goals, gets those grinder goals, and they're missing a lot of that depth or that extra the second line scoring, that second line finesse that
Yeah.
everybody's going to try to put their first line defense on your best players, but what are your supporting cast going to do? And they're really struggling with that.
Hmm. Yeah, so they're gonna have to find their groove here, and after that was the last game of the night, I believe, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Yaya, Yaya Ingar actually had a really good game there. I don't know if we had announced the player of the week, but again, I don't want to speak for the OC or the referees because they're the ones that pick. But I thought he probably had the best performance of the night. I know some of the Hyatt team members might disagree, obviously, because things got a little chippy. But the brother had 3 points and he was knee deep into the game.
He was, and he's I think the boys in the hood, they call him YY, and he played really well. I was even joking with him. I'm like, hey YY, what are you gonna do today? 3 goals? He's like, I'll do the best I can. I'll see what I can do. And yeah, he didn't disappoint. 2 goals, 1 assist, and he's really leading the charge.
Hmm.
Well, just at least that game he's leading the charge, but he's hustling out there. He's doing the best he can. I'll save some additional comments for our trade talks, but don't be surprised if something does happen here and there, because yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into that. I mean, since we covered last week's games, let's get into that because I think what the trade deadline is coming up next week. So
Yeah,
tomorrow, GMs and players get to do their last assessments, and then they have until Wednesday or Tuesday night, I forget exactly, to do any kind of trades. After that, you're locked in for the rest of the season.
Now, RF, you were there all day on Friday. Did you hear anything while you were walking around and talking to friends and all that? Did you hear any trade talks,
Oh yeah,
trade
yeah. I mean,
deals?
yeah. There were a lot of GMs talking to each other. Some of them were actually pretty funny. Of course, the real talks probably happen away from the general public.
Yeah.
Some of it might be posturing, right? Like one GM talks to another, and you look around, and another GM is watching you. Yeah, there's a bit of showmanship and posturing that happens. So, but all things said, I did see the GMs talking to each other, and I was actually hoping that there was going to be quite a bit of trading. But instead, officially, we only had one trade this past weekend.
Oh, really? I don't think that wasn't even announced.
So again, I don't know if it's been announced yet or not, but I'll tell you exactly what it is. If it's not, well, folks, you heard it here first. Let's see. And I think the OC has approved this, so I am at the liberty to disclose this. All right, here, let's see.
Now, while you're getting that up, I'm
Yeah.
going to just kind of step in and maybe mix it up a little bit. So I heard some GMs talking, and let me just start throwing out stuff.
Mhm.
So we get a little bit of excitement going.
Yeah.
Of course, I've heard it from a couple of teams, couple of players that, oh yeah, I'm not like I don't need to worry. I'm pretty good where I am. My GMs told me nothing's gonna happen. Guys, you haven't been here for the last couple of seasons. That is right out of Huzaifa Mantra's playbook. And Hanan will tell you this. He was told, oh man, you're fine. I'm not trading nobody. Bam. Like 8 people on the team are gone. So
The
I'm
only
not
guy
saying
that
that's
would,
gonna.
the only guy who's a GM this year, still a GM this year, that would come close to that is Saudagar. That man, he loves trading. Of course, he wants to make his team better, but I think he actually enjoys it. But even he has been super quiet, and his team is one that, as you will attest to, probably could use a little bit of rejigging.
I think, to be honest, just to be outside of the bubble and kind of take myself out of it, I think, Arsenal being up, great, great. Like you said, he was a natural forward and he makes things look so effortless up there. He's making these dekes and these plays that nobody has any business making. But I think that the team is lacking some solid D men, right?
Mhm.
Again, I wish Samad the best of recovery. He's been having some health issues,
Yeah.
and a couple of people were missing. So there are some stable D men, but again, it's not going to hurt if there's more D on Sabr. Likewise, on Ihsan, I think they and Hayat, I think they both could use some forwards.
Hmm.
Now, this season, everything is at a little bit of it's hard to get right. It's
Yeah.
people are going to be tough negotiators. People are going to be looking. Of course, Abdullah says RF request a trade and I'll save you. So he's always looking out for your best interest. But the skill level is there, but everyone's going to be tough to give up anything because the Medina division is doing well, the Mecca division is struggling. So a lot of teams are going to look to capitalize.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's definitely going to be a chance, and
Hmm.
and Malton does want YY on their team, or other people like friends are looking to get back together, right? They're trying to
You mean
recreate their
a class once.
A class.
There's no
Sorry.
Malton team, buddy. It's still Islam here.
Yeah, no, you're
If we
right. A
start putting
class.
if we start putting nicknames, you're gonna have Team Ikhlas, you're gonna have Team Maliks, you're gonna have all these different ones. So let's just take Abdullah's comment here. Arif, request a trade, and I'll save you. I appreciate you trying to be my knight in shining armor here, but he is actually one of the people who made the trade. So here's the trade that
Oh
occurred.
wow.
So there was a trade that was pulled, and it sees Azim Mohammed and Salman Azmat from Red Ihsan going to Taqwa for Mohammed Chauhan and Amir Khawaja. So Abdullah did end up making a trade. What's interesting is both of these two teams, same division, and they're chasing each other. Well, we're chasing them for that final playoff spot. Typically, you don't see teams that are going to fight for the last spot trading people to each other. But I guess that's how dry the trade platform is right now.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. I now it's interesting because Ehsan is receiving Amr Khawaja.
Yeah.
Again, a guy who slides under the radar for a very stable D-man, and as big as he is, tall and size-wise, the man can outrun a lot of young kids. He's still got
Fast.
a lot of hustle. He's fast.
And
So
he has a mean streak if he needs to. He's a like super chill teddy bear type of guy. But man, if you go into the corners with him, you have to be ready to battle.
yeah, definitely. And I had the pleasure of having him on my team last season, and stable, solid D-man.
We
So
went
I
to the
can
finals with
see,
him,
yes,
right?
we did.
And not
Yep.
just that, we had Amer, Ehsan, and
Yes.
Farouk, right? Just the three
Yep.
of them played defense the whole season, and they played
Correct.
big minutes. So even though some might say that he's a bit older, he put in like marathon
Primo
man
time.
type numbers.
100%. But now that makes me think that if Ehsan got Amir, they might be looking to make a move to put either Zuberi, Dawood, or even Hamza Shakil, getting them more playtime up to be able to expand their game and really be able to break out of their zone to get more emphasis on their scoring. On the
Yeah,
other side, I think Taqwa did get some forwards out of this, and Azim and Salman are good, stable forwards that can do the job. They'll grind out. They'll play those hard, heavy minutes and let line one take a rest or whatever. But you're not going to get off easy with Azim or Salman. So I think both ways it benefits the
yeah.
teams, and it just worked out very well for both of them.
Well, I'll break it down further. With Azim, he's versatile. He's been playing. Well, he was playing defense and forward with Ehsan.
Mm-hmm.
So going there, he's also very mobile as a defenseman. So I don't know, maybe Abdullah wanted someone a little bit more mobile, whereas Amir, he was more of a stay-at-home defenseman. And Salman, like you mentioned, he can run and whatnot. But the other small piece is Azim's son plays on that team, the goalie,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just couldn't put two and two together. Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah, so I think there might have been a bit of leniency there to make sure that Papa and son get to play together, although his other son plays in Rida.
Yeah.
But at least now he doesn't have to be here for three different teams playing.
Some favoritism for one son over the other. I'm just, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen the family there, and they're just the nicest guys out there. Like
yeah.
the
Well,
sons are just very encouraging.
oh yeah.
They're very humble. So
So
that's
going
something.
back to our earlier conversation, you were asking about Hamza. So I think this is the real reason why this trade was made, at least from Ehsan's point of view,
Hmm.
is to get someone like Amir Khawaja means that you get to have a stay-at-home defenseman to play with Kadir, who we know loves
Yes,
to jump into the play. And he has
definitely.
he has had to stay back just so that lacking that anchor, if you will. So pairing those two up, it's perfect. You got a mobile, speedy guy, and you got a tough stay-at-home guy. And when you
Hmm.
do that, it also releases Hamza, Shakil to play forward and go up. So in one move, they've actually solved a couple of their sore points, if you will.
Hmm.
So I think with that, Ehsan will have uh, Kadir and Amer, as well as Nafia and Coco, Wasim Kagzi on defense, right? So that puts a very very solid D, and then after that you have Fahad, Hamza, and Hindi all playing centers. So you got everyone playing their natural positions. So I think it's a subtle move, but it really puts everything into alignment, at least for red.
No, and it does sound like it. It's as long as they can come together over the next few weeks, over the next
Mhm.
4 weeks, and get themselves out of the basement. Because it's not an easy task. You have to not only make up 3 points on
Yeah.
your on the opposing team, but also make sure hopefully they'll lose and find ways to get the W's when or just hope they lose. That's really
Mhm.
it. But what other changes do you think Makka needs to do? Again, when we talked about the Makka teams not being as strong as their Medina counterparts, or do you think there's any other subtle changes that could really make a significant difference for Mida, Haya,
I
Sabr,
I
Iman?
think this year, I think we talked about it on one of the weeks where we said that the GMs drafted pretty good teams and players that they're comfortable with. So there's two things. One is they still believe in who they got, so they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
make changes. Everyone feels like they're just, a couple of little moves or just line changes away from it clicking and taking off, right? So
Absolutely.
everyone's happy. So they're reluctant to make changes. And two, I think when the GMs talk to each other, everyone starts valuing or overvaluing their players more, right? So let's say you and I are making a change, like Maju, here, these are the two main pieces, and then we have a secondary piece to kind of balance it out. But then maybe you start overvaluing your 11th round pick, right?
And
Or
just a
and
reminder to
undervaluing, yeah,
Yeah, and just a reminder to the league, you speak from a place of experience. So
yeah,
for our viewers that don't know that you've been a GM before, just you've had definitely a good amount of experience as a GM. So you come from a place of experience, and you've had these trade talks with
yeah. And then I talk
teams.
to the GMs on the floor and stuff, and a lot of times they'll ask for my advice or something, and I'm happy to give it. And that's my observation is when I ask, so what do you think of this player? They're like, yeah, he's this or that, and I'm thinking, well, I think you're overvaluing him or undervaluing him. Um,
Hmm.
so eh, I'll take Amr as a perfect example here. Like, because he's a quiet guy, he goes under the radar, and unless you've played with him, you forget who he is. And then when you
Yeah.
see him on the floor, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's the guy." Right? So there's a lot of those where the GMs, they don't necessarily know the players fully. I mean, they know all of
Hmm.
them, they know their stats and stuff, but they don't know some of the I guess the nuances of their game.
The
They just
intangibles.
haven't had the experience to do it, to play with them. So I think that's where people are under or overvaluing what they have.
So you're saying that Mohib Shah could be traded.
Yeah, right. Okay. I actually gave some intel to some of the GMs before the draft, and I said Muhib Shah is a name you need. You need to highlight that because um, he should be going first round, but because people don't know him, he might go lower, but you want to catch him. But obviously, Ikhlas had the dime on him.
Yeah, for sure. And again, they lucked out. Great hands, great speed, great vision, and he's clicking. He clicked right away with the guys with the class. So
Hmm.
fantastic pickup, fantastic play.
You know, on
Yeah,
Makkah, you have Team Rida, right? They're sitting on top here.
yeah,
Although just one, look at this. I mean, they're 6.654 for the playoff spot, right? So they're all pretty much in the first to third place.
yeah.
They have a great team and they've been playing well, but I feel like I know Farouk. I think he still wants to look at some options because I think they need some secondary scoring. As much as Bika has been scoring, teams are starting to tighten up on him.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that was definitely evident last week. Again, 2 points, nothing to scoff at, but 2 points is still fantastic. But you're
Yeah.
right; they're going to start kind of leaning over to his side a little bit more, kind of getting a little bit more in his face. Hamoudi's been doing a great job, two goals and 9 assists, so feeding Bika constantly. But that might free up Hamoudi to let his cannon go a little bit more. Although
Mhm.
such a humble guy that he doesn't want to hurt anyone with it, so. Um, but yeah, but you know what? I do think Farouk is a little bit distracted with all the diapers that he's having to collect and take out to his garage, and he was talking about that on Friday. So he might be a little bit too distracted with his young kid to make any deals. But again,
Yeah.
I could have my foot in my mouth all I know for all I know. Uh, to
So
be honest,
there's
yep.
there's a lot of, yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say there are some teams that are struggling in net too, right? Like I don't want to call out anyone, but everyone knows that there are like
No, please
myself.
do. Call it, please.
But there are people like myself. I need a team that will clear out my rebounds. There are people that have struggled. Poor Yusuf had one really bad game, but he stepped it up with a fantastic game right after with one goal on like 30 something shots. Nader, great goalie, always willing to play, but he's having a tough time making the early games. So there are these little things that we could see happen where the team, not necessarily to say lost confidence, but to rejig, regroup. They might look to making one of those changes, and one of those changes could be in the goaltending.
Yeah. Speaking of changes, a little change here. We have a new guest here. Finally, Buck makes it. Welcome,
Yes,
buddy.
here.
sir.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
And you're not lagging.
Bam! There we go.
Well, just to say,
What's happening?
Umer
What I miss?
Buck, he was in the car and he was trying to talk, connect to us earlier, but he had the shades of Adil Patel, talking.
I didn't want to be lagging.
No.
Last time I was here, apparently no one could hear me. So I was like, forget it. Let me. And it was foggy on the 4-1, so I had to be really careful getting back on there. So.
Exactly.
So
and this is a note for everyone who wants to be on the podcast. You're more than welcome to join. However, we have certain minimum standards in terms of the audio and light quality from past experience.
And no
So if you want to
Logitech.
do it.
And no Logitech.
So fancy, yeah.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish. But I was hearing on the drive here, about what you were saying, and
yes, sir.
The Mecca division is not as bad as you say. Okay,
Yeah?
so I will tell you this right now.
Prove me wrong.
It is the most competitive division. That's why there's no gap. Whereas two teams in your other division are slapping the other two teams. So there's a reason for that. And for some reason, the Mecca division likes to sleep when the other division is playing them. So you know what? That's the most important games are coming up, the last 4, and then a lot of things can change.
You played intra-division this past 3 games, right? So the Mecca teams lost to or tied at most.
I can only speak to my team. My games, our games were all close. I cannot speak to the other 3 games.
Well, Buck, I know you're the eternal stir-upper of things, but do you have any insight? And you were there for the entire week. Last week you were there.
Yeah, I see.
But did you hear anything, any rumblings going on about movements or anything that could?
I heard a lot of stuff. I just don't know if I can say it without putting everyone on blast.
Do it. That's your only role here.
I don't know. Okay, all I can say is that I don't know, man. There's like red might not be done. I don't know. RF, I don't know if you know anything, but red might not be done. Yellow might not be done. Purple or gray or Haya, whatever they are, Haya, they may not be done.
Half of the league. How is that insightful?
Well,
speak, Don Cherry. Speak it.
It's no coincidence. No, Abdullah. Yeah, you won a couple of games, and we'll see. But it's no. Well, what is it? What can I say? Okay. I mean,
drop the beans. What do you know? Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Do the Mullocks do Haya want Rizzy back? I don't know. I'll just throw that out there. Do they want it? I don't know. Has there been requests made? I don't know. Has there been chats? I don't know.
I'll tell you what I do know though. GMs have been talking a lot. There's no shortage of GM chatter. I can tell you that much for sure. But again, nobody wants to pull the trigger. Everyone just thinks they have what they have.
Everyone wants to be cheap and to steal everyone's lunch, right? There's got to be some give and take here. There's got to be some give and take. You can't fleece every team.
Some of these GM offers are worse than Johan in fantasy hockey.
Okay, I'll throw one thing out there. I can tell you that Klaus wants Fahad, but they don't want to give anyone up. So I'm like, good luck trying to bring your friend back. I'm like, what are you going to give? You want to give Manip Shaw? No, I don't think so. You want to give who are you going to give? You're going to give up no one.
Why would they though? They're undefeated. Like, why make another team stronger, right?
No. They want Fahad back. They want.
I know, but they have to give someone up to another team to make them
But that's
stronger.
what I'm saying. They want him
Yeah.
back, but they don't want to give anything. They're trying to be Brown. You know, they're trying to get they're trying to stir it up. So they're trying to create this all-star molten team. But yeah, they're just joking. But yeah, those guys.
Fernie Abdullah wants you. A buck. You want to wear black?
I'm wearing black right now, buddy. Yeah. No, Abdullah's kudos to Abdullah, already making some changes.
Yeah.
He's never been shy, the shadow GM before. He's always kind of worked in the background even when he wasn't GM. So honestly, I expect Abdullah to continue to make moves, and I think Black isn't done either. Yeah, I think Abdullah's not done either. So I think he'll be. I think he's still asking around, but it's one of those things where.
And you know what?
It makes sense for it?
Yeah, I think RF said it best, right? Like this weekend or this Friday, people are gonna have their serious hats on or their glasses or whatever you want to call it, and they're gonna really scrutinize every aspect of their own team play, but other teams, and see what that missing piece could be. And sometimes it just takes one trade to get that door to open and say, okay, let's make some movements. We know we need to get stronger and whatnot. So we have our first trade of the season, and this might start a cascade effect.
I'll throw it out there, Abdullah. I think you need some more forwards. I think you need some more forwards, Abdullah.
You got Azim and Sully. Both of them are forwards.
I've always seen Azim as a defenseman, but that's in the past. I'm pretty sure he can do both. But I mean, Abdullah,
they got a lot of good defensemen on their team.
There's Zoo Dowdy. There's Omar Sawi. You can make a splash with either one of those people. I think you can probably pick up some decent forwards with either one of those guys, Abdullah. I'm sure you've been. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there, right?
Omar is their leading scorer. Why is he always in the trade talks? He's one of the best defensemen in the league.
It's according to his students, he's number 2 overall. The expectations are high. No, I'm just joking. So he's
well, in that sense, Casentini, he is the first overall pick. He's been pretty quiet. I think he's missed a few games too, and his team is struggling. So does Luke trade him, or does he wait till he's back and then get?
I don't think anyone trades him. That guy he's great all around. He had a couple of games here and there. Sawi untouchable, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Casentini, he's just a complete player. I don't think he goes anywhere unless I don't think he ever goes anywhere. But yeah, Luke can do a lot, but Luke is one of those guys. He usually keeps his guys around. He doesn't do a lot of movements, and then Akib and Suf, these guys, they usually like to ride with their players and grow with them. So I've never seen Luke do too many things in the past, like big splashes. No, that's it.
So look at it this way. I'll throw some names out. I mean, you've already talked about Fahad, right? Fahad's struggled a little bit on red. He's played well, but he hasn't put up the points that you would expect from the first pick for the team, right? And then nobody takes it harder than him, right? He's trying really hard, and I get.
He's doing the right things, though. He's doing the right things.
Yeah, he's gonna break out of it, I think, this week, inshallah.
No, not against Simon. I'm sorry, I'm playing you. It's not
okay. What about Multani? This guy was playing really well last season. He started off with a bang, but he's kind of fizzled, even though he's still leading his team.
No, honestly, like I've seen Haya's games. Multani's a very smart player. He does the right things on offense and defense. So you know what, like, I would say he's one of the bright spots on their team in regards to like smart players. So again, maybe that's a good trade value. Maybe you can get someone from him. I think Multani on any team will make him better. So, yeah, I mean, if anyone wants forwards, like if anyone wants to go scoring or just a smart playmaker, Multani is a very good all-rounder. So I don't see him doing it.
Bush, I'm gonna put the focus back onto your team. You guys are winless in 3. You guys beat Suber in week 3, and then since then you guys tied, and then 2 straight losses, right? So what are you guys missing? Tight regardless, but the thing is, it's still not a win, right? So what are you guys missing? What do you guys feel you need to take that next step?
Honestly, the team is very talented. It's that there's all we do is, I mean, we've all said it amongst ourselves. We kind of like get flat in the beginning and we lose the early goal maybe, and then we're trying to play catch up. So I think the biggest thing is just making sure we hunker down defensively, and yeah, we just throw down some. The team is very talented. The young kids that we have on our team are super talented. I just think we need to make sure we play defensively, support our goalie Khalid Mufti, and we've played better defensively. Like I think when we play simple hockey, we play good because the guys are because some of these players are really talented. I think they might squeeze the stick a little too tight, or maybe look for the extra pass or the extra dangle. And sometimes it's a simple. Our goals, even I'll just say, like our one goal last week was off of Essence shot on net and tip, and that's it. Sometimes you got to get those greasy goals, and that's hockey. And I think more people play in this league, they figure out you just got to play your fundamentals. So I think getting to fundamentals. Our team is good. I'm not really worried about our team. To be honest with you, we have a good group of people, and the chemistry is there, and it's growing game by game. We could stay the way we are, and I'm pretty sure the guys aren't going to move anyone. But it's a family affair over there, so
let me cut you off there, Buck, a little bit. Since you are talking about Iman, and we are sort of already at 46 minutes here, let's do a quick recap, not recap, but preview of this week. And since you're talking about Iman, the first game is Ehsan versus Iman. So real quick, what do you think is going to happen here? Are you going to knock me into the boards, or something evil planned?
No, nothing evil planned. Just unless you start doing some weird dangles around me, then I might have to just push you. But other than that, no. It's both teams are desperate for a win. So I think it's going to be one of those. I think it'll be a playoff type atmosphere where both teams are going to try really hard to get out the gate early. So, expect it to be, high flying, high pace, and on both ends. And I'm interested to see what the new look for you guys are with these two new additions. And then it'll be interesting. I think it can be. I think it will be a very fast-paced game. I think you guys are also going to push the pace pretty hard as well, considering both teams really need this win. So I mean, it's a very important 2 points.
Now that being said, guys, please, people who are involved in the trade, please get your jerseys to your team representatives so the other player can have it, so they don't
clean it first.
Clean it.
Wash it. Not just wash it.
Dry clean, but
don't Febreze it. Put it in.
But please get it to your team members, so at least they have something to play with, right?
Good point.
I think Ehsan is. Oh, sorry, game 2. Cool.
Yeah.
Game 2 is Ikhlas and
Ikhlas versus Rida.
Yeah, Ikhlas. Wow. What can you even say? Ikhlas is just they're steamrolling every team, right? Abu
I wouldn't say they're steamrolling every team.
Abu and Pachbaya, they both know that they struggled last week, and they know that they need to do better. But Rida has something to prove. They're gonna come out. I'm hoping that Nadir is gonna show up, so they have their full team. But again, I know he has commitments earlier in the days, and sometimes those games are challenging. So it's really gonna come down to what Rida can offer. Are they going to have the regular goalie, or are they playing with a sub? When you're playing with a sub, it's always a little bit tricky to adapt and adjust. So, so that could put a wrench into the mix. But I do think Ikhlas is going to be able to pull out the win. It might be a squeaker, but I think Ikhlas's tic-tac-toe and their possession in the zone can really wear out players, and that's where they capitalize.
Yeah. I think unless Rida really, put it this way, Rida has to play almost a perfect game to beat Ikhlas. Ikhlas can play a B+ game or even an A, and I think they can still take it. That's how good they are this year. Buck, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm gonna play the spoiler. I think Rida plays. I think Rida upsets them. Not for anything, but eventually, I think eventually teams figure out how you play, and eventually teams figure out how to play against them. And Rida has some guys with size that I think might be able to do some damage. And I think one thing I think Asif Bika, who's gonna stop him?
Well, Abu is saying that he's going to offer extra playtime for whoever blocks Bika's shot. you can offer it, but then the person's going to be injured and sore. I don't think they're going to take you up on that power play time or play time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
There you go. See, could do things like me. So the third game will be Haya versus Taqwa. Yusuf puts a good point here. Hassan Mohammed to Taqwa, unite the Mohammed family. Everyone wants to be.
Still a possibility. We still got some
Talk
time.
to your GM. I'm telling you. All right. So game 3 is Haya versus Taqwa. Haya needs to stop their skid. They're sliding, and Taqwa needs to keep winning to stay in that last playoff spot against Ihsan, who seems to, 2 games undefeated thus far. So what does Haya have to do here to pull out a victory?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Arif, give us your thoughts, because Baksh and I have been talking a lot.
Go ahead.
No, it's good. It's good. I think Haya needs to have their bench, right? Like every game, they're missing some key pieces. This year, the rosters are pretty big. You have extra players, and in the past, you sometimes wanted your bench to be shorter so that your star players could play more. But this year, if your star players are not there, you have more second and third line players playing. And that makes it very tough to compete with another team where their entire roster shows up. So Haya has been facing that. I can't remember the last time they had all 3 GMs plus their first overall pick.
Haya's been short bench a lot of those losses.
Right? Exactly. Years. So it's hard to say which team we see every week with them.
If they have 2 people on the bench, you're not going to beat a lot of teams if they're full. Like if you have 2.5 lines versus 2 subs, it's going to be hard, right? So the team with at least 2 lines usually prevails. And Haya, if they can just get on the score sheet early, I think they have the defense to hold off. But
yeah,
you know what? Like Taqwa has the speed, and at the end of the day, what I've noticed is that Taqwa can come back and they can score. It just comes down to, can they set up in time and can they get the play in? And we know Abdullah can do a lot of stuff. Idris can do a lot of stuff. Isawi can do a lot of stuff. They have players. It's just, can they cohesively come in and do that instead of coming back from behind and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you think their traded players will pay dividends on this first game back? Maju, what do you think?
I think it's going to take a couple of games. I think they need to find their rhythm. They need to find that cohesiveness within the team. Not to take away from what the intangibles they bring. I think it's just a tough adjustment that always takes time to develop. And we may not see the splash right away. These guys they're not, unfortunately, they're not big name, big splash kind of guys. They're guys who are just going to work hard through and through and make the other team run. They're gonna really challenge the second and third line of the other team, and they're gonna wear them out. So you might not see that typical big splash, 3 goals, 2 goals, or anything, but you're gonna see those intangibles at play. And I have to agree. I think Taqwa might be able to grab it out of here, but it really does come down to what Haya has to bring. And even Imran is saying it in the chat that Haya needs to score some quick goals. That is a huge challenge for them. They're the lowest scoring team in the league, yet they can control their back end. They just can't seem to get it going. So definitely that's going to be a significant challenge. And if they can overcome that hurdle, get that quick goal, get a couple in, it'll really get their mojo going, and they'll be able to keep even blank Taqwa if necessary.
I'm calling Abdullah out. I need another Sherwani performance. I need another performance from you with the Shawar. You better come in the Shawar. You need 3-4 points, buddy.
Baksh, how many points do you have this season?
Don't worry about me, brother. That's not my job.
You can't be calling out someone who has more points than you, buddy.
That's not the point. I'm here to call out. You think Don Cherry is playing in the games? No, calling people out.
Baksh has some intangibles that just can't be beat, right? He's physically breaking down some of the other players and really getting under their skin. So
I want to see a Buck slide. I want to see a Buck slide.
I didn't
been privy to one this season.
I didn't get an assist on that game-winning goal, Maju, but Maju knows the score.
Next, please. Next, let's go.
All right. So the last game of the night, inshallah, will be Sabr yellow versus Yakin white. Yakin's high flying, Sabr is struggling a little bit. What goes on here, Maju? What do you have to do, and what does your team have to do?
I think I need to step up, right? I'll be quite honest. I was very vocal after last game. I was frustrated. The team was frustrated. I need to play much better. Hopefully, I think we're hoping that our entire team will show up. I think we're expecting our full team. We just need to play a team game and really, we kind of got behind the 8 ball last game, and we just can't let that happen. We can't be the chasers. We need to play our speed. We need to take our advantage to them, force them to play to our game, and just keep challenging them and make it difficult for them to own our zone, to do anything. And once we do that, once we play our game, we're gonna be able to take the advantage.
Arif, go ahead.
Okay. I think you got it. Like you have to really go into the game with a game plan. I know everyone wants to play their own style and whatnot, but sometimes you have to look at the other team and think tactically, right? You'll see every game the GMs they try to rile everyone up, and it's like, yeah, guys, let's go. We got to go hard, this and that. Sometimes you miss the opportunity to think strategically. You got to play hard. Everybody knows that, but how? What does playing hard mean? So it could be forechecking, maybe it could be blocking shots or doing something on a key player. I think some of those tactics are not always taken into consideration by teams. So I think Yakin is Sabr is the underdog, I would say, based on the standings. So in that sense, it behooves Sabr to think strategically on how to control Yakin's fast young players.
So can I just throw one thing in? Throw one thing in the mix here. We played both teams recently, and in general, Sabr, I think the keys for them is going to be their forecheck and making sure that they're tight on this young, fast team. They're both fast teams, so we're not really worried about it. It's going to be a game of speed. I think Sabr has the edge in maybe overall toughness or team toughness, but I think you need to be careful because I think Sabr needs to be careful on the level of toughness because they might get dragged into some penalties. So I think the biggest thing is keeping Yakin off the power play, and you do that by playing tough but not getting suckered into penalties. So be careful against this young fast team.
Very well said, Baksh. I think you hit the nail on the head. Both teams struggle with penalties. Both teams struggle with keeping their cool. And guys, remember, at the end of the day, we all have families to get back to, kids or whatever. We have loved ones to do responsibilities for. And I quite dumb, Baksh. But please, guys, remember, we're one brotherhood league, right? We need to keep our cool. Even on the court, I know we get riled up. In the change rooms, we get riled up. But guys, please remember, we are still Muslim brothers at the end of the day, and please be respectful. Things happen, but we need to try to calm ourselves and reflect on the things that do happen and be better people at the end of the day. We have young kids, we have children, we have young players in the league, and we need to make sure we are accountable to them because they're our future generation. So, we had a couple of stir-ups last week, and I just wanted to really mention that just so we're accountable to ourselves.
Yeah. And keep in mind, sorry, Baksh, and keep in mind that these days everyone has a cell phone. There's people who are taping and recording stuff, whether you're swearing or fighting or whatnot. It not only puts the league in a bad light because those things get shared to other leagues and people and sponsors, puts the league in a bad light and puts you personally in a bad light. People only see you yelling or fighting or doing something stupid. That's all they remember. They don't remember all the good stuff you'll do. That is not going to get shared. It's only that one clip where you lost it that's going to make the rounds in the Muslim sports community or wherever it is, right? So be cognizant of that. You represent yourself, do it in a dignified way.
100%. Well said.
Baksh, any last thoughts before we call it a night?
No, I was gonna make fun of Maju, but I can't really do that anymore. Then.
You can do that here. I'll even.
You got a few seconds for the outro music or whatever it is.
I must smash you.
I smash your boy. All right, Maju. Anything else?
Let's just see what this weekend brings. I'll be there inshallah early and get to watch all the games.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it, and inshallah we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Inshallah.
See
Take
you
care,
guys.
boys.
All right.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.